Or did they just get in a freaking car with strangers and was told by Malaya, okay, baby, I'll be right back. I got to go get your sister. And then everything went to and they got taken by strangers and they think they've been kidnapped. We've been hearing a lot of insanity about failed plans and people running away and CPS taking children and all kinds of things when it comes to the stepfather and people that are claiming to be related, verified to be related to Malaya, the mother of Lily and Jack Sullivan, the missing siblings out of Nova Scotia. Well, I saw that this posted about an hour ago, and it's an interview with the police investigators in this case. Let's watch it together. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer, everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. As I mentioned, we have been going through a lot of the insanity that has been coming out from very specific sources over the past few days. If you've missed any of those videos, this one is the biological father's mother's interview. This one right here is the interview with the stepfather. This one right here is the most recent one that I posted, where it runs down this alleged failed plan that the mother apparently made in order to leave the stepdad or get out of the area for one reason or another. And according to this failed plan theory, the kids are fine, they're alive, they're safe, and with someone who is either friends with or related to Malaya, the mother. But for some reason, instead of just coughing up the fact that she was actually trying to get away for some reason and just coming clean and not having all of these resources go haywire over the past 7 weeks, she then sort of went into the abduction scenario. And apparently the family was taking things out of the trailer and planting them, or allegedly planting them, trying to make it seem as if the stepfather, Daniel, actually did something to the kids. That is what's been going on recently. Now, the only thing that we have heard that goes along with what we are getting when it comes to police fact versus this information from the family is that the police dogs followed the scent of the children to the end of the driveway, to the end of the yard, and that's where it disappeared. That could go along with them being taken by a stranger that drove up in a vehicle and called them to the car. It could go along with one of the other theories I had before all of this, where maybe one or both of the children were injured in the street and somebody took off with them. But it also goes along with the mother walking the children to the end of the street, to the end of the driveway, to the end of the yard, and putting them into a vehicle that was waiting there for them. But that's really the only piece that really tracks when it comes to what we've heard from the police. Let's go ahead and watch this and see what they have to say. Let's see if they mention any of the stuff that we've been hearing over the past few days.
To be clear, we don't have evidence to suggest that an abduction took place at this time.
Is it something you're still investigating, whether or not they could have been abducted?
So we're exploring all investigative avenues. So on the morning of May 2nd, approximately 10 a.m., RCMP officers received a call.
See, approximately 10 a.m., 9:40 is the more specific time that we've been hearing. And it does matter because that's 20 minutes. 20 minutes. And that's significant, honestly, because some of the information coming from Daniel is that whenever he confronted Malaya outside and was asking about where the kids were, and she was saying that they were gone, the time frame that she gave him was 20 minutes. So, yeah.
About 2 missing children in Lansdowne Station. The information at the time was that they wandered off away from the property. And I can tell you that our officers got at the scene very quickly, and we were monitoring the situation and hopefully finding the children very soon after that.
Well, apparently they only got to the location as quickly as they did because they were already really close by looking for a missing kayaker, I think it was, another missing person. According to the locals, if they wouldn't have been in the area they were in, it would have taken them maybe hours to even get out there. I've heard that from like multiple different voices on different channels.
So it's very quickly. Officers arrive, and then what? You expected, it sounds like you're saying, that you'd find the children quickly, or hoped you would anyways. That didn't happen.
So Kayla, what I can tell you, from experience, you look at missing children. I've been involved with a handful of cases since I've been.
The standing is weird to me. Does it not feel awkward? Maybe it's just personal because I don't like when people are standing up around me. It makes me so beyond uncomfortable. Like I will get snappy if someone is like standing too close because it's more like a hovering weird thing. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. The standing is odd.
And with strategic communications, most oftentimes the children are located very quickly after officers arrive at the scene, right? And that's our hope every single time, that they wandered off and you can find the children. Because I'm sure, like every officer out there, I'm not on the road currently, but your heart is pounding, the adrenaline is rushing, you're trying to find those children, right?
This case started just like that?
That's
what you're
correct.
describing, you thought you'd go there, find them very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And our officers were nearby.
Well, that's because at first it was like they ran off into the woods and then it switched to, oh, they could have been abducted. Like it was, from everything I'm hearing, and I could be wrong on this one, but from everything I'm understanding, it was Malaya that turned it into an abduction situation. Like she had to come up with something to make it make sense. You know what I mean?
An ongoing search for a kayaker that had gone missing the day prior.
Yeah, the kayaker.
So, I can tell you I was monitoring the situation remotely, and our officers, I could tell they were getting there as quickly as possible.
There are some, as you are aware, many theories out there. Some people think, well, maybe it's really just a tragic accident. Maybe they just wandered off into the woods. But you've said that it's suspicious. So at the very least, why does the RCMP view this case as suspicious?
So every missing persons investigation is suspicious until it's proven that it's not. If we don't have that information to say that it's not suspicious, we have to continue to assume that it is suspicious and access those resources and tools and follow up those tips and find that evidence until we find the people that are missing.
So you don't think they were
That's
abducted,
not specific.
but you can't find them. How do two young children just vanish?
That's a great question, Kayla. And we are asking for the public for tips and information. And to date, we've received close to 500 tips. So we have to follow up on those tips, right?
There's no way it's not more than that. With all of the people, all of the hundreds of thousands of people that have heard this guy going around and literally claiming he knows exactly down to the names and location about what happened here, they have to be getting more than 500 people calling in and being like, have you paid attention to this? Come on.
Whether it's a tip that indicates that there could be something that happened elsewhere in the province, elsewhere in the country, we have to follow up on those investigative tips to rule them out. And to this date, we haven't had any confirmed sightings.
But there have been tips that lead you to other parts of the country that you had to check.
As with any investigation, oftentimes we do get tips that you have to verify that are elsewhere, yes.
You have said that...
Now, one of the things that Home Dude has said is that he knows for a fact they're with Malaya's native people somewhere, but not like the nearest reservation. I don't remember the name of it, but not the nearest one where people think that she is. Like they're apparently not in the same place. But he also has said they're not in the country, most likely not in the country anymore. So does that mean they're in the U.S.? Because the laws in the U.S., whenever it comes to Native American reservation land and the laws of the white man are completely separate. So
the children were last seen alive the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me about the nature of that?
So we know they were seen in public with loved ones the day prior. The specifics aren't being released at this time.
Okay,
but they were. Like, see, this is like almost a completely pointless interview. Daniel told us they were in a parking lot in the mall area. So I don't know if it was like the mall parking lot or like around here we have like malls. And then around the mall parking lot will be other businesses like restaurants, movie theaters, things like that, that have their own parking lots, but encircle the huge mall parking lot. So it could be a place like that. It could be the actual mall parking lot, but it was the parents, everybody, the family was out and they were seen by one of Daniel's coworkers. But I've questioned that because we were told that the kids stayed home that day because Lily had a cough and was sick. Then we see text messages where Malaya is saying that the kids weren't going to be going to school that Friday anyway, and that she had apparently called the school around 6 o'clock in the morning to report that they weren't going to be going. Well, if you think about this being a planned situation, she would need the kids to be home, right? So Lily just having a cough. Did she try to get Lily to fake a cough to stay home so that it looked like she was sick? Because again, the entire time that we heard from both her and Daniel in the beginning before Malaya completely went silent, which again was not by advice of the police. They have never once told her, do not go out searching, do not post on social media, do not talk to anybody. They've never told her that. She's choosing to be silent. That's why a lot of what this guy is saying really makes the most sense because of how quiet she's being about literally everything, and the way that apparently she's like panicking. But if it is true, again, like I said in my video this morning, all of the times, all of the days it's been that he's been out here talking, I don't see how they haven't gone and snatched her ass up and put her in a damn interrogation chair and not let her leave until she gave the names of the people that had the children and got them on the phone and had proof of life and got them back into the custody they needed to be in, because there's no legal chain of anything here unless something was done under the table. Because something legally could have been done under the table. If Daniel has no legal rights whatsoever to Lily and Jack, which it doesn't sound like he does, she got the birth certificate. She could have written a simple piece of paper with witnesses giving custody of the kids to somebody else, and maybe it's binding. And so maybe they can't maybe go get the kids, or maybe they are in another country. I don't know. But the fact that this is where we're at now, and it's a whole Monday, and this dude's been out here running his mouth for days and days and days now, I just don't see how what he's saying is true and factual if we haven't had any proof of life of the kids so far. It seems like that'd be really easy to just fix, you know?
And so that's the day before, so that's May 1st. But you've specifically asked for a video back to April 28th. What's the reason for that?
That's true.
You know, when you establish a timeline for any investigation, you want to know where these individuals were prior. They may have been in contact with someone, but you want to know who that person is. They may...
Like the people that Malaya might have been asking for help to get out of the area. The people that might have, you know, actually taken off with the kids. And see, that's another thing I've kind of questioned. The people that Malaya apparently, allegedly planned this with, did the children know these people? Or did they just get in a freaking car with strangers and was told by Malaya, okay, baby, I'll be right back. I got to go get your sister. And then everything went to shit. And they got taken by strangers and they think they've been kidnapped. I'm really curious about what's actually happening here. I feel so bad for those babies.
You may see something on that footage that you didn't know about prior to that. You know, we talked about license plates earlier and seeing them from a different angle. Yeah. You might see someone that's known elsewhere. Maybe it's someone that's known to police. You never know.
Oh, like they're looking for maybe child people that might be trying to find other people to take, maybe? Registered people, maybe? I mean, that's probably something they should have automatically gone through. You know what I mean? But at this point, it's been 7 weeks, over 7 weeks now. We're past that.
Really are seeking all investigative avenues in this case.
There have been some complaints that an Amber Alert was not issued. I understand that the criteria is very specific. Was that considered? Is it still possible?
Absolutely, Kayla. You know, on the day of the incident, I can tell you I was working. I reviewed the policy that morning. We have to have a suspect or a person of interest when it comes to abduction or a vehicle. You know, in terms of sending out an alert, when you send an Amber Alert, you want to direct the public to look for a specific vehicle, to look for that license plate, to look for that suspicious person, to have a photo of someone.
You mean like everything we had whenever the Decker girls were taken by their father before they were killed and the Amber Alert still wasn't issued? You mean everything that we already had plus then an arrest warrant for him breaking custody order and they still didn't issue an Amber Alert? Freaking jokesters.
Or more information to suggest that there was an abduction. In this case, you know, they are young children, certainly vulnerable people, and a vulnerable person alert was issued.
Does the RCMP know what happened here? Even if you can't tell me, do you know?
So what I can tell you is that we're exploring all investigative avenues.
Are you?
Do you have a case? Are you building a specific case that's leading you in a certain direction?
In this case, the investigation is still being investigated under the Missing Persons Act.
It sort of seems from the last...
These are not answers. These are not answers.
News release that you issued. The reason I'm asking these questions, I read that news release and I thought, I don't think they have any idea what happened here.
You know, when it comes to missing people, it's very complex. It can be very long-term investigations. It can be difficult on first responders, especially when it involves vulnerable people. And we have to be patient, and we have to follow the leads and follow the facts and evidence that we gather to bring us to locating the children.
Does the RCMP think Lily and Jack could still be alive?
That's a great question, and we want to locate them and find them. And our goal is to investigate every single avenue until we find them.
Is it possible at this point?
That's a great question, and our goal is to find them in the evidence.
These are not answers. It's getting on my nerves.
And surrounding their disappearance.
You mentioned a lot of the tips you're getting. I'm sure you're aware there's extraordinary public interest in this case. Some people are frustrated that the RCMP is not saying more. We understand it's an active investigation. And in some cases, the lack of information leads to speculation, and rumors are rampant online, and that's done some harm on the family in this case as well.
The rumors online are because of the family, Miss Ma'am. What do you mean? Okay, no one's coming out talking more crap than the people related to this case. What you talking about? Oh my gosh.
Though,
Put it
would you
where it
say to the
belongs,
public
baby.
who are begging for answers and just want to know what's happened here?
We have to be patient and certainly rely on our news releases and official sources of information. Don't listen to those rumors that are out there. We're putting out those news releases on a regular basis with information.
So don't listen to the guy who's actually related to the mother that's acting shady as shit and quiet and actually validating everything that the stepdad's out here stating. Don't listen to him. Isn't this insane? It's like they're not even trying to acknowledge it. I noticed it over like the weekend that they were still posting videos of like the searchers out in the woods and stuff like that. So I'm actually kind of wondering, now that I'm like going back and thinking about how much of it I'm seeing, are they trying to like make her feel bad? Make her and her little girlfriends her age that are doing something stupid feel bad because all these resources are being wasted, and so they're trying to just like flush all of the mainstream media with these little, a few minute clips of the police and the searchers and everything else, because they're not even acknowledging what the world is hearing right now
pertaining to the investigation. We have to be very cautious as to what type of information we release because we want to make sure that it doesn't affect the investigation.
I think some people in the public are starting to wonder, is it possible that we may never find out what happened to Lily and Jack? Is that possible?
with everything that, again, validated and verified family member person has come out and said, if that ends up being the case, I mean, I don't see how it possibly could be the case.
I wouldn't be able to answer you that question today, but I can tell you that our investigators are seasoned. They are committed. I've worked with some of them personally prior in my career, and I can tell you that they are committed investigators to this missing children's investigation.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they are, to the best of your abilities, I guess. But again, when we have somebody who is a family member coming out and saying very specific things that are being backed up by other people's stories and match a lot of the things that don't make sense with the actual facts, what else are we supposed to be thinking here? Yeah, I'm not really quite sure what to think. Because again, we have a family member coming out and saying all these very specific things, but also saying, I'm not giving the police all this information. I'm not giving the cops this name. I'm not doing it. Because all they're going to do is what? Go and interview this person, and then that puts the kids in more danger because then that person freaks out. Well, they've been doing more danger than the police could. This person, this Darren guy, because he's been out here saying this stuff for days and making threats to the people. So if anything, he's the one causing more harm. Now, I've had people in my comments saying that they are contacting RCMP and telling them very specifically about what this person has been out here stating. So it's not like they don't know. I know for a fact that they know. So I don't understand why they aren't taking that approach and being more serious with it, unless this guy is really full of crap, which would make no sense to me because he's a verified family member. The biological father's mother has come out and said, yeah, he's related to Malaya. So I don't understand what's going on. I do know one thing, that whenever they want you to look one way, they make you look the other way until they're ready for you to look this way. It sometimes never comes, but eventually, for the majority of the times we do get there. So maybe, again, they're just doing this to sort of make it look like a normal investigation. Like maybe they aren't really paying attention to the rumors, but in reality, they're doing all kind of shadow work. That's really what I'm hoping is happening here. Well, I think my Raycons are about charged. And by the way, if you haven't seen my sponsored review video on the new 2025 everyday earbuds from Raycon, this is what it looks like. And I'll have a link for it down in the description box. I wanted to sit down and watch this while they were charging because I've got a lot of yard work to do. And, in just about 10 minutes, they get about 90 minutes worth of charge. And the weed eating, the mowing, the making sure my trees don't get chopped down, the edging of the driveway. I'm going to need all of that 90 minutes. But I hope that my theory is correct and they're really just out here acting like this is just textbook and we really don't have any information. When in reality, let's just cross our fingers that this family member is accurate, because in his story, it was just a plan gone wrong. She's an idiot who just didn't even care to just come clean whenever she could have in order to clean this up and not make this go so insane. There's no telling what these kids are really going through, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, what they're being told. There's no telling. But in the end, in his story, they're alive. And they're with people that apparently do care about them and are protecting them. So let's hope that that's true. Now, I will also say, I've had a lot of my people come over here and comment that a channel named Sloan Bella called this like a few weeks ago. So I'm going to go take a look. She's apparently a psychic channel, and she apparently knew that this was a plan gone wrong, and they were with people that care about them. And she knew before this cousin guy started coming out talking, apparently. I don't know. I'm going to go take a look myself, and if I see what you guys see, I'll definitely do a video about it and give her a shout out for being accurate, because who the hell would have called this? That's insane to me. So I am going to go take a look. But right now, let me know what you guys are thinking about the police approach, what we're hearing, and everything else when it comes to this case down in the comments. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that that notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.